What's up, y'all? Loaf Meat here. I'm gonna be doing a little bit of Dark Souls play, and I figured why the hell not? Let's record some shit. The big reason why I decided to do this is because I'm gonna try something new. The true Artorias build, which is basically a quality build. I'm gonna pretty much put stats in just about everything except for resistance. And see how things go from there. I am gonna slightly use this as a walkthrough, kind of just show people like some neat things, some tricks I picked up, some trivia. You can see the demon up there. Fun fact. There he is. I do have a buddy of mine who just recently started playing this game as well. I don't know if he ever beat it or not, but I know that he was having a tough time with it and he was asking me a whole bunch of advice, so in a weird way I am dedicating this to my buddy, my boy. Boy! Okay. So I didn't want to bore you guys with my character creation, because I actually spent quite a few minutes figuring this out, making them all nice and pretty. As soon as I'm not beef jerky anymore, I'll show you just how pretty I am. But I chose the, warrior class, because it has the most even stats. I thought I was clear of that. God damn it.
Oh, you.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip this. Sure, why not?
There was an from the undead asylum.
Another fun fact, this wasn't brought to my attention until, about a month ago.
One more thing.
But Oswald here, our buddy Oswald, his name actually doesn't appear in the game, but we know his name is Oswald from some data in the game that wasn't used, I think, because he was supposed to be a bit of a bigger character helping you out. At least that's my understanding. So, but tragic soul, he ends up here. Being smashed through the ceiling by the demon. That's kind of the standing theory. I have to agree on that one. So on we go. We got the key and the Estus flask, which that's what we really need. I gotta get back into the groove of things. Man, I love this game so much, but I almost reached the point where I played almost too much of it. And I had to branch out and do some other games. And then what's bringing me back now is, especially with all the information on Dark Souls 2, or rather Dark Souls 3 that we're getting. Just this past week they were doing the networking test, and I was all over that footage. I wanted to know as much about the mechanics. I don't want to know anything about the game, and I was kind of conflicted because I want to be surprised by a lot of things, because I kind of ruined myself going into Dark Souls 2. I knew almost everything because I was a part of the hype, and I got into that. But I wanted Dark Souls 3 to be a real special moment, go in there as blind as possible. But I wanted to know more about the mechanics of the game, because I wanted to see how much of Dark Souls 2 they kept and how much of Dark Souls 1 they brought back. And I feel pretty satisfied with the end product. I think we're going to get pretty much the perfect combination of the two, and I'm not even worried at all after seeing what they got going on in the game. I think it's going to be the best of both worlds, and maybe that's the hype that's talking, but I don't know. Everybody who participated in the stress test seems to think that it's going to be pretty titties. All about them titties in Dark Souls 3. So that demon, talk a little bit lore. He was kind of perched up there on a lookout, and I think really the lore purpose of that is he's trying to stop the undead from leaving the asylum. There could be multiple reasons for that. One being, well, obviously they don't want the undead to leave the asylum if they've been put there to get away from everyone else. What's the use of having prisoners if you can't have guards? Sort of thing. But also I've heard that, there might be, or a theory really, that it might be placed there as sort of a test. Because as we'll see, an undead is meant to leave the asylum and come to Lordran and overthrow the Gwen, take his place. I mean, this game has an ass ton of lore, and a lot of it is really up to interpretation. Some of it is more spot on than others. I've seen some pretty wild theories, but I've heard a lot that have made complete sense, and I choose to believe certain things, and my interpretation isn't always going to be right. So I don't intend to make my videos too lore heavy, but anything that I'm just like, that's pretty interesting, I'm going to shout out. Shout. Let it all out. I do have a texture replacer mod active, and I've been messing with my DS fix so that I shouldn't, keyword shouldn't see any FPS drop. But I've ran into FPS drops before while playing this game without using any mods. But that's just, it's a bad port. The game was clearly made for systems, so when it was ported over to PC, it was almost one for one. Like I'm using a controller because the mouse and keyboard for this game it's just complete ass. Let's talk to this guy, Petrus.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Tharaland. Have you business with us? If not, I'd prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
And we want to keep our distance from you too, but...
Hello there. I realize that I have requested...
You give us stuff, so we gotta keep talking.
But I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this. No.
Copper coin. Interesting thing about the coins is that they don't really serve a purpose in Lordran.
Oh, so would that...
Because everything...
Very well.
Join Covenant. Yeah, why not? Everything in Lordran is... the currency is souls. Souls. We use souls for everything, leveling up, buying items, whatever, so...
By your efforts.
Everybody just wants souls. So he's just kind of giving you this copper coin, like, well, I'm not going to use it. The shrug. Love the shrug. Alright, let's get going. One thing I should point out at this point before I go any further is... let me see if I can find it. I chose the pendant as my starting gift. I almost always choose Master Key. I didn't want to do that this time because I want to play the game right. I usually get Master Key and the pretty much the first thing I do is I go straight for Quelag. Because, you know, after you beat her, you can jack up your level and then pretty much fly through the game from there. And it's a lot of fun to like kind of challenge myself. How low of a level can I beat Quelag? And I've done it just right out of the gates, and it's actually a lot of fun. But I'm going to play the game seriously, so I chose the pendant kind of for lore reasons. You know, it kind of forces me to go around and pick up all the items. So I gotta find the master key, I gotta find black fire bombs, and all that other fun jazz. But the pendant, a simple pendant with no effect. Even so, pleasant memories are crucial to survival and arduous journeys. So the funny thing about the pendant is that it was added to the game and it literally has no effect. And there were tons of people who were running around trying to find the purpose of the pendant, because everything in this game has fucking purpose. It's amazing how, like, you know, you find secrets in this game and find all this neat stuff, and then they add an item that literally does nothing, and it starts, you know, it's a starting gift. So it's kind of funny. And so Miyazaki, the creator of the Soul series, I believe he actually went on record and said, like, you know, you guys should stop trying to find the use for the pendant because there is none. So it's really just here to be funny. Alright. So I got what I wanted from this area, so I'll continue forth. Thank God I got my parries on, because I thought I was going to have a hard time adjusting to parries in this game after playing so many others. It feels so good. In Dark Souls 3, parries are supposed to be similar to that. It just makes me so excited right in my pants. So we can, you know, we can see this area. This is the aqueduct, or an aqueduct. And we can see it from Fire Lake Shrine, and vice versa. We can see Fire Lake Shrine from here. Which is kind of neat, you know, the sort of world. You know, for a good part of this game, you can see different parts of the game. So, you know, it's fantastic. And that's only partially true for Dark Souls 2, but I'll explain a little bit. And I know I'm not going to use this as my soapbox to hate on Dark Souls 2, because I have truthfully played more hours of Dark Souls 2 of this. They've just been spent in PvP, whereas I play this because it's just awesome. Like, the awesome storytelling, awesome world. I want to be in it. But anyway, the environments in Dark Souls 2, like, you can see, what is it, Hyde's Tower of Flame from Majula. But the walking distance from Majula to Hyde's Tower is a lot shorter than the view actually makes you believe. Oh, Jesus, I didn't even see him. I was looking in there like, where is he? And he's right in front of me. Ooh, firebomb. Ew, gross. And yeah. So, like, the distances are way off, and, you know, of course, there's a lot of things that are... Ooh, shit. That's the first time he's ever straight up landed on me. Jesus. I wonder if that's a bug, or if that's happened to anybody else. That's never happened to me, no matter how fast I was running. Anyway, I'll stop with the Dark Souls 2 bitching for now. I'm sure it'll come up later. Pick up the wooden shield. I guess I'll kill this guy up here. Oop, right there's some FPS droppage. Maybe. Ooh, and we're back. Jesus. That was crazy. I hope that was an isolated incident. I might have to get rid of my texture mods just to... so that never happens again. Jesus. What are you doing? You can't drink that shit here. Jesus, God. So the Undead Burg here, kind of the only area in the game where you can actually see how, sort of how people lived in this world. So it's actually kind of neat. You can look out and see the houses and see the streets. You know, you can actually see Lower Undead Burg from here. Yeah, I've actually never noticed that, but right there is Lower Undead Burg. And then there should be a boss gate over that way. And, I mean, we won't get there until later, but that kind of gives you an idea of the sort of world we're in. We can probably get a better view of what's down there once we kill these guys. Oh. Come at me. Not gonna come at me. And see right there, you can see some signs down there. That's pretty neat. Ah, man. I'm rusty, but that's okay. It wouldn't be as fun if I was fucking running through this like a pro. Some throwing knives. That's another one thing I'm looking forward for in Dark Souls 3 is the throwing knife mechanics, which are, after viewing some of the videos, I can say are probably going to be strictly better. They throw faster, they deal more damage, they're just going to be way more useful. Okay by me. So as you can see, there's a ladder over there. You know, there's the aqueduct. Kind of feeds into this huge wall here. And then from the aqueduct, you know, we came through there. On the other side of this wall is the Fire Lake Shrine. That should help you give you an idea where we're at. Super cool. Super, super cool. I thought there was something back here. Oh, there we go. And there's nothing up here. Okay, so there's just that in there. I can deal with that. I knew about this ambush here. So no surprises for you. Another view of Undead Burg, or Lower Burg. I think that's the boss fog gate right there. I mean, there's no fog there. Maybe it didn't load or render or whatever, but I think that's it. Right where that sign, like in front of that sign. And then, of course, you can see the ambush over there. Guys hanging out. I wonder... That makes me question, like, why are they doing that? I mean, there can't be a lore reason why they're just hanging out there. It's funny. Rubbish. And you see we're back here. We went in 2 giant circles. And then since everything's already dead, I can just run through here and then get to the bonfire. Which I didn't want to find yet. And I think I'll wrap things up from there. Or, let me see. I think we got time for the boss. I might be able to do that. But I do want to rest up before I do that. I need more Estus. Let's try leveling up. You know what? Take that away. I think my dex is where I want it to be for now. If I'm not mistaken, because I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use the claymore and halberd for the time being until I can get the true sword of Artorias. We'll put 1 point in strength. And I think the halberd is what? 12 dex, 16 strength to wield. Oh. Oh. Get out of here. Technically, I am playing online, so if an invasion happens, oh well. I intend to stay hollow as much as possible, but for some of the things I want to do, I'm going to have to not be hollow. These little white circles, like you'll see them, I don't know what makes them pop up, but I do know that if you use certain miracles around them, your miracles become stronger. So, like Wrath of the Gods, if you use Wrath of the Gods, it fucking wrecks. I mean, it wrecks to begin with. Like, it's probably borderline OP powerful now. And right there's the black fire bombs. Alright. Kill these guys. One thing I like about, another thing about Dark Souls 3, what I saw is the backstabs. I think we're getting a happy medium between Dark Souls 1 backstabs and Dark Souls 2. Like, you can still whiff your backstabs. They're gonna be sort of instant, like they are in this game. Whereas in Dark Souls 2, you kind of punched and then went into a weird animation. I actually didn't mind. A lot of people thought it was weird. But I mean, I thought it was kind of cool. You punch their back, and then each weapon had its own unique backstab animation from there, but whatever. Dark Souls 3 seems like you can whiff in Dark Souls 3, but the window is much smaller. Oh, that's locked. Oh, I know. I gotta go back. The master key usually opens that up, so I'm not used to that. Anyway, Dark Souls 3 backstabs, you can still whiff, but that window is much smaller than in Dark Souls 2. Like, Dark Souls 2, you just watch people fucking punch the air. Like, all day, every day. But if you, in Dark Souls 3, what it looks like, if you try to backstab somebody when they're already trying to, like, roll away from you, you're gonna whiff. But if not, if they're in the middle of attack and you go for the backstab, of course you're gonna land it. Like, there's just no Merchant down here. Probably should have listened to him, but he doesn't really say anything neat or interesting. But he does sell us the residence key, which is important to me.
Thank you kindly.
Going on up through the... do. Actually, unequip some stuff that's not going to be very useful to us right now. I'm going to keep my my fire bombs on, because I might need those. Okay, cool. Residence key opens this. And this is going to help me fight the boss. Gold pine resin. Drop down here so I can get the drop on this guy. And jump attack. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to fight, or at least try fighting this Black Knight right now. He's usually pretty easy to parry. So I'm just going to stand here and parry him all day, every day. And this is why you got to practice your parries, because they're super useful. I do get a little scared. Like, each time I'm like, am I gonna fuck this up? Whoop. Yeah, see, like that. Oh my god! Oh man, I wasn't expecting that fourth hit. Jesus. Retreat! Try to bait an attack so I can sip. Alright. No! Oh no, humanity. I thought that was fire bombs. Yeah, I made a mistake. Oh no, I made a mistake. Sorry, phone's on vibrate. I will put it on vibrate. Okay. Ow, dick. Ow. Oh, come on, are you serious? Let's see. God damn it. Sometimes it's just oddly hard to see where he's gonna swing, and like, I don't know. I was expecting him to follow through like that, but he didn't. There we go. If I'm not mistaken, if you fight him on your first try, you're guaranteed a Black Knight sword. I recently learned that when I watched almost forgot about that, but we got out of the way. A speed run, and then they ended up using the Black Knight sword, you know, to pretty much carry them through the whole game, because they only leveled up enough to use it and then dumped the rest of their points into whatever. Yeah. Alright, before we fight this guy. Take care of these snipers. Snipers, no sniping! I'll see myself out. Alright, one thing I don't want to screw up. I think he spawns after that sign, so I want to apply the pine resin now. Must have been the second sign. Guy ain't so tough. And I knew that swing would kill him, so I didn't want to roll out of the way. There is a way to bait him off the edge, and he'll end up jumping to his death, but that's never happened to me. I've never done it. Alright guys, I think that'll do it for today. I'll pick up from Solaire next time. Let's find him first. The single most interesting character in the entire game right here. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, give me a subscribe, keep in touch, say hello, call me sometime. Why don't you ever check in? Please? Anyway, we'll see you guys in the future. Do the thing. There we go. Bye-bye.